Okay, it looks like we are live, so I am just checking in on our feed. If you're here for our event, go ahead and say hello in the comments so that I can see that you're there. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and check the feed here, make sure we're live where we're supposed to be. All right. So we're going to check those things, pages. Let's see where we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Nurse Entrepreneur 5-Day Challenge. I'm excited about that. Okay. All right. Looks like we're happening live on Facebook. I'm just double checking our feed as I wait for people to come in. And I'm going to make sure that we are live on LinkedIn as we are supposed to be. Okay. And looks like, yep, we are live on Facebook. Also, on LinkedIn as well. So great. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So I want to make sure that you're able to see things well. So I'm going to look here and see what's the best way. Yes, I'm going to make myself smaller and make the slides bigger as we get ready to get started so that we can go into our presentation for today. So this is our Come Feel the Sun day one of our Nurse Entrepreneurship Challenge. And if you've been following me for a while, the last couple of years, we've been doing the Kickstart 2022, 2023, 2024, etc. And we've used that time to reflect on where we've come as a business and where we're going as business owners. But this time I thought, you know what? Let's really target new entrepreneurs, nurses that are really wanting to start their business and make 2025 their best year ever. And so, as you know, one of our tagline is "Come feel the sun." And what do I mean by that? I mean, I want you to feel like this is your best day, where everything is beautiful and sunshiny and bright and wonderful when you're in your own business. And so, I'm encouraging you to do that. Is to come feel the sun with me. Okay, so this is the first time I've used this on Chrome. So I'm just going to say that because of the way StreamYard works. My file was too big with the PDF, with the PowerPoint presentation. So I had to do this on Chrome. So this is new for me. All right, so let's see here. So it looks like some of it has not come over. Let me see if I can. Anyway, let's go on with the story. All right, so I wanted to talk about, we're going to start with day one, and I have the agenda here, and for some reason it did not pop up for you, and I'm trying to figure out why that would be. But I'm going to just say, we're going to start with a brief introduction. I'm going to introduce myself to you, start with a reflection on your nursing journey. We're going to talk about the rise of nurse entrepreneurship and how there's more clinical research going into this area, which I'm very excited about. The benefits of being a nurse entrepreneur, the skills that you bring to business as a nurse, and then we're going to have a couple of case examples of successful nurse entrepreneurs. One of them happened to be one of my former clients at the Nurse Academy, so I wanted to share that with you. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about my story, because I wanted you to do an introduction, because some of you may not know me, and you need to know who's speaking to you. And that's, I'm very transparent. If some of you follow me on Instagram, you know I'm the one that will show up in her bonnet and do a challenge there. I do that through my 30-day gratitude challenge. So a little bit about me. I'm an advanced practice registered nurse, board certified as a gerontological nurse practitioner. I live in Anderson, Indiana. I'm a mom, not a mom, a wife. Sorry, I have nieces and nephews, and I feel like a mom. And I have a godson that calls me mom. I've been a registered nurse for over 20 years and a nurse practitioner for 16 years. My areas of specialty is obviously geriatrics, mental health, education. I'm the owner of Baxter Professional Services, which is a consulting firm. It provides legal nurse consulting services for attorneys and insurance professionals, wellness and chronic disease management coaching, and customized educational operational resources. So that's just a small of things of what I do. I also teach stress management to clients of all ages and offer virtual as well as online classes. I've been listed as Alignable's local business person of the year in 2022, 23, and 24. I'm the founder of the Nurse Shark Academy, where I coach nurses to launch and scale their own businesses. I'm the host of the Nurse Shark Academy show, which released its last episode of season 2. So season 3 starts in January. So very excited about that. And the show interviews nurse business owners and leaders in healthcare and helps them to tell their story. I'm a public speaker, spoken on numerous topics on a national level. I say all that to say that this is my nursing journey, my background. If you want to hear more about me, you can always listen to our podcast and listen to episode 1 on season 1, where I talk about my nursing journey. But I want you to know who it is that's speaking to you and bringing this information to you, because I'm the type of person that I'm very transparent. And I don't want you to think that, oh, well, this is just, somebody came up out of nowhere and hasn't done anything. And now they're coming up here on a platform and saying that they're doing great things. And, I like to give you the receipts, right? As they say. So a little bit more about me. I've been featured in over 30 articles, such as in Minority Nurse, Entrepreneur.com, Reader's Digest, WebMD, etc. This actually is a picture of my dad and me dancing at my wedding 28 years ago, as of the 28th of this month, by the way. And this article was about using music in dementia care. And so I wanted to put a picture of my dad because he was very inspirational. And before he passed, I was able to take him to see a musical, and it just brought him to life. And he did have some dementia. And so this brought him back to life. And it was just wonderful. So I wanted to share that story. And now that he is memorialized in this story as well. I've also been a guest in over 30 podcasts and summits, including most recently Breaking Bullying, Perspectives on Healthcare, Simply Sales, The Nurse Speaks, and many more. I say that to say I'm not just jumping into the game. I've been around for quite a while, and maybe you haven't heard of me, and so I wanted to introduce you to myself and to get to know me a little bit better. So I want you to take this opportunity then to think about your nursing journey. And for those that have the workbook, this is an exercise in your workbook. So you'll be able to fill this out. So those of you who have the workbook that goes along with this presentation, you are able to fill these things out. But if you don't, I'm going to encourage you to get out a piece of paper and work through these exercises with us, okay? So I want you to think back to when you decided to become a nurse. Can you remember what brought you to becoming a nurse? I can remember exactly how I felt my first day of nursing class. So I was working as a CNA, and I had made plans to go to medical school, and then I decided that was not the path for me. And by the way, I could have done this. I took the MCAT twice, did very well. I just couldn't fill out the application. It just was not. I was having nightmares about it, actually, and I realized that's not really what I wanted to do. So I became a CNA till I could figure it out. As a fifth-year college student, had to figure it out at this point what my next role was going to be. And as I was working as a CNA, I saw what the nurses did. And I thought, I can do that too. And if I want to go back to medical school or, apply to medical school, I can always, go again. I can always apply and all that stuff and take the MCAT again. And so I said, I think I want to go to nursing school. And it was my first time sitting in nursing class that I realized I had found my tribe and this is where I needed to be. So I want you to think about that. What led you into the profession? Was it the only path available to you? Because I've talked to some older nurses and they said, well, back then your choices were nurse, teacher, or housewife. But what brought you to the profession? Did you have an ill family member and wanted to help? And doing the podcast, I've had a chance to talk to nurses. And my first question is always, what made you become a nurse? And it's interesting to see the stories of how people were introduced into nursing and what led them there. Sometimes it was a call to patriotism and civic duty. Sometimes it was they had a sick family member and they wanted to learn how to better help them. So, what is it that brought you into the field? I want you to answer these questions because this is going to be so important for you when you start your business. And were there other nurses and health professionals in your family? What value has your nursing career brought to you? You need to answer that question too. Because I think a lot of times when we talk about nursing, we're often talking about not about the profession itself, but more about our work environment, the corporation we work for, the agency. We're not really talking about nursing. We're talking about these external factors that impact our profession, but we're not talking about nursing itself. And so, what brings you to nursing? Is it because you knew you could take care of your family and have a steady income? You knew that there's probably going to be job security because nurses are constantly in need. You got the respect in your family or your community because you're a nurse, or it gave you a sense of purpose. I want you to think about those things and tell me for yourself, write it down on your paper, what it is that brought you into nursing and why you wanted to be a nurse. Okay. So I'll give you a couple moments to do that. I want you to think about the things you find meaningful in your life. What do you think of? Include those feelings, ideas, activities. So, for example, I enjoy spending time with my husband doing something fun or unique. And so I'm the adventurous one, right, in the family. And I'm the one that says, let's try this. Let's see what it's like. And one of the things that we did that we had never done before is we went to, I remember this is a while ago, but we went to the Muhammad Ali Museum, right? We wanted to see something different. Or we'll go to a play that's different or new. So we seek out new experiences, something that we can do that's fun or unique. That's to us. We love going to the zoo because I love to see the animals. And yes, I'm sad that they're in captivity, but understanding that some of them cannot live on their own anymore. But I love to see animals. I love to try different cuisines. And so we'll do those types of things. So my question to you is then, what is it that you do? And what would you like to do? And so think about some of those things. So let's talk about the rise of nurse entrepreneurs because these are studies that just came out in 2021. And previously I was looking for some statistics on nurse entrepreneurship, and it wasn't really studied. I think there was one study back in 2012, but it's really difficult to find good evidence-based research and statistics on nurse entrepreneurs. So I was excited to find this. It says there's an estimated 0.5 to 1% of nurses worldwide who are entrepreneurs. So if you're a nurse entrepreneur, pat yourself on the back for being in the 1%. So I want you to put in the comments that I'm a 1%er, right? If you're a nurse entrepreneur, because I think that's awesome. And so this translates into 270,000 of the 27 million nurses worldwide. So you are in a unique elite group, right? And I want us to grow this. I just find that interesting, that we're looking at worldwide. We're not just looking at the U.S., but worldwide. And there's been other studies that talked about nurses in other countries and Switzerland and other places that are entrepreneurs. So I thought this was just fascinating. So a look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They said that nurse entrepreneurs' average salary could be anywhere from $94,000 to a year. It could be more, but this is average. Up to 45.52 cents, 52 cents an hour. So if you think about this, if you are a nurse and you're making $25, $30 an hour, and I know there's some of you that are coming at me and like, not in this economy should I be making that, but there are some nurses that are still making that depending on where you live in the country. This is important because I think a lot of times people will come up there and say, well, you could be a nurse business owner and make $1 million. Yes, you can. But I want you to see the reality. This is the average. This is the middle, right? The average. So you have some that make less. You have some that make more. So the factors that influence that are the residential state. Where do you live? What province are you in? What area specialty? Legal nurse consultants may make a little bit more than maybe a nurse business coach. It just depends on what you're doing, right? Your level of education. Are you an LPN, an RN? Are you master's prepared, or do you have a doctorate? Because in some cases, depending on what you're doing, it can make a difference. Your years of experience, not just your years of experience in nursing, but your years of experience in the business area as well. And then the type of business that you are starting or owning. So you need to understand that you can, make a lot of money if you want, if you so choose, but it may be that you have to choose those things that lend itself to that. And so it may not be what you're wanting to be. For example, if you're a nurse practitioner and you own your own practice, you could probably make a lot more than someone who is not at an advanced practice level, right? So interesting enough, there were some statistics that came out specifically about the U.S. that I wanted to share with you. And so it says Montana has the highest rate of nurse practitioner entrepreneurs, with 5.2% of the nurse practitioners founding and owning their own practices. So if you want to start a practice for yourself, Montana seems to be the place to be. One of the reasons in the study that they found was that states that had full practice authority, where the nurse practitioners were autonomous and able to practice within the boundaries of their profession, they were more likely to start their own business than in more restrictive states, such as Indiana, where I am, and other places. Also, they found that the top specialty of nurse practitioners founded in their practice was aesthetics at 20%. So you're thinking about those that start the hydration clinics and those types of things, Botox clinics, that type of thing as nurse practitioners, followed by primary care at 16% and psychiatry at 15%. So you can see if you're a nurse practitioner like myself and you're looking to start your own business, these are the higher areas that most nurse practitioners are starting. Okay. I'm not sure what's happening with these slides other than it's in Google and not in the PowerPoint. So, let me see here if I can do this. Share this tab instead. All right, this might be better. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this comes out better. And I apologize for this. This is the first time I've used StreamYard for this. And so I've never, there we go. Here's some of the pictures that I want. So I never got a chance to do this here, but this is the only way it says so that I can show you do the audio as well. All right, so there's the agenda. I wonder if I can make these a slideshow. No, I don't want to cancel. Slideshow. There we go. All right. Much better. Much better. Like this much better. Okay. All right. So here are some of the benefits of nurse entrepreneurship. A recent Forbes article stated that regardless of the discipline, the benefit of entrepreneurial mindsets appears to lie with nurse entrepreneurs and patients and may be not so much with the hospital system human resource directors. So what they were saying in this article, which is kind of interesting, is that it doesn't matter what area of nursing you're going into, having that entrepreneurial mindset seems to benefit the nurse entrepreneur and the patients. And it may be that the future of nursing isn't into the hospital system that we're seeing currently. And so this article is there. If you want to read that, hop on over to Forbes. There's a site there. All right. So I want you to take some time on your next piece of paper and let's write your nursing journey some values. So looking at this list of values here, I want you to choose the top 5 for you. The top 5. So I want you to think about what you value as an individual and choose your top 5. So, for example, one of the things I discovered that I valued was the creating something new for me. And I realized that I did not necessarily want to work in that part of the business day to day. So I like the idea of helping others create something new. I necessarily didn't want to run the company. I wanted to help someone else make it. That for me was an epiphany because I thought, I have to do this and start these businesses. And then I thought, ugh, and then I have to run them and have, and it was to me, it wasn't giving me the fun. The fun in me is taking something and creating something new. It could be finding balance. And this is one of the things that really struck with me. And by balance, I mean having the ability to work as I want to work, take the time off when I want to take the time off, be able to juggle things as I see fit. And everything needs to flow. And so if you notice across the things that I do, everything has a purpose and a meaning. And there's a certain balance in that. And it's a certain rhythm to that. And if it's something that's not flowing, then I'm going to, oftentimes stop doing it and get rid of it. So I have to take a sip. I like the idea of building something. That's one of my values is I love the idea of starting with something, just a proposition, and then we build from that and we learn, and that taps into my creativity. I also am the type of person that values personal growth and development. And I can tell you one summer in high school, I decided to write a paper on the Iliad. Not because it was assigned. It was because I was interested in the subject. So I read the story, researched the information, went to the library, did all the things like I was doing it for school, wrote the paper. So when time came and we had to do something on Greek mythology, I already had a paper written that I wrote the previous summer. And I just turned it in. I added up a little bit, added some extra things that she wanted and Bam. I had a paper already done because I was just interested in the story myself. So take a moment. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to take a moment. Just quickly choose the top 5 for you. Don't think too hard of it. Let it speak to you. What are the top 5 values that you have? All right. So, what do you value in your work? Think about your current nursing career, what you're doing right now. What brings you value in your work? What would make your work more meaningful? What kind of worker would you like to be? And is your current job or environment meeting your needs or expectations? So I want you to think about this because we're beginning to head onto that entrepreneurial journey as a nurse. We're thinking, about being entrepreneurs. What does this mean? If you were to change anything about your job, what would you change? Or your work environment, what would you change to make it your ideal place to work? Think on that. Write it down. If you want to share it in the comments to help someone else out, share it in the comments. That would be great, very helpful. So our next part, and again, if you have this your workbook, you'll have this in the workbook. But we're going to use a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being not important, 2 somewhat important, 3 neutral. I don't care one way or the other. 4 is important. 5 is very important. I will die on this hill. Okay. So this is your scale. Here are your values. Okay. So we have security. Do you value having a business that's sustainable? Variety, frequent changes in task or focus. You need to have variety in your business. I'm one of those people that really needs variety. Independence. I like to make the decisions. So I want to be the boss. I want to make the decisions. Competition. I want to continue to improve and be the best at what I do. Recognition. I want to be well known in my field. Freedom. I want to manage my own schedule. Status. I want prestige and admiration. Money. I want access to resources. Creativity. I enjoy the process. So on this, I just want you to write down really quick your 1 through 5 and rate these different things. Okay. I'm going to give you a second because I'm going to flip to the next page and there's some more. So the reason why I want you to kind of write them down so that you can go back and refer to them later. It's in your workbook if you have the workbook. By the way, I keep referring to the workbook. Some of you may be wondering, how do I get the workbook? The workbook comes with VIP access. If you want to get VIP access, we'll talk about that at the end of the workshop today. Okay. All right, here's the next set of values. Decisiveness. I want to be the decision maker. I want to be the one that makes the decisions to make us move and go forward. Helping others. Being of benefit to my family and community. I want to be helpful. Excitement. I need action. I need to see things move and grow and that type of thing. Some of you ER nurses, you might fit right there. Belonging. I want to feel part of a team. I want to know that I'm part of a tribe, a community. We're doing great things. Leadership. I want to direct and influence others. Expertise. I want to be known as an expert in my field. Stability. I like things that are predictable, such as a steady paycheck. Individuality. I got to be me. Spirituality. What I do must feed my soul. And fun, if it's not fun, why am I doing it? So these are some of those values. Again, rate them on a scale of 1 to 5. There are no right or wrong answers. These are things that help you decide where you're going to go in your entrepreneurship journey. And so I'll give you one more moment. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to check and see. Hey, Sister Kim. Hi, Janet. Thank you for chiming in. I wanted to go ahead and just check on that real quick. Okay. All right. See which one am I doing? I'm doing this one. Okay. All right. So, what is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is a person who sets up a business with the aim to make a profit. I don't care if you're a nonprofit or a for-profit business, the goal is to make a profit. The only difference between being a nonprofit and a for-profit is that if you're for-profit, the goal is to make the profit for the shareholders or the business owner. The nonprofit, the goal is to make the profit for the business so that they can do more of their nonprofit work. So still, the whole goal is to make a profit. You could be a freelancer, a side hustler, a small business, a nonprofit. These are the different things you can do. And I want you to think about what type of an entrepreneur you would like to be. So the Merriam-Webster Dictionary says an entrepreneur is one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risks of a business or an enterprise, or in other words, a go-getter. Entrepreneurs see possibilities and solutions where the average person only sees annoyances and problems. And this is where it sets you apart as a nurse entrepreneur, because if we look at the healthcare field, yes, there are problems, but I look at those as also as opportunities. These are opportunities that we can step into there. And on one of the episodes of the Nurse Shark Academy, I talked to a nurse and on the show, and she was a telehealth nurse. She would go in and she'd be the one on the patient screen in the room and say, hey, I'm your telehealth nurse, I'm going to tell you about your discharge instructions, et cetera, freeing up time for the floor nurses. But she found that the hospital was having trouble maintaining the program because of staffing, because a lot of the nurses, once they did telehealth, really didn't want to go back to the floor, so they were having problems recruiting internally. So she developed a company so that she could provide the staffing for telehealth to all these different hospitals. Seeing a problem, which most people would see is annoyance, and turn it into a possibility and an opportunity. Entrepreneurs are dreamers, innovators, champions, driven, achievers. Entrepreneurs are problem solvers. You know who else are all those things? Who does that remind you of? Nurses, right? So a nurse entrepreneur is a nurse who uses her nursing knowledge combined with creativity and business acumen to develop her own business. And I have to say, I have met some phenomenal nurses over the past 2 years doing the show, and their stories just floor me. I hear these nurses tell their stories of how they got started in business, and it's amazing to me how they come up with these unique ideas to meet a need that they see in the marketplace. So entrepreneurship is important because, one, it creates jobs, and that was one of the reasons why I decided to re-enter into CNA training, is because I recognize, hey, if I grow this part of the business, I can hire other people and give other nurses opportunities and jobs. That for me was a win-win. Innovation, it gives you a chance to be innovative in what you do. And so I chose to make a hybrid program and be more innovative than some of the other programs that are either all online or all in person. Let's do a hybrid so that it would help meet the needs of the students. And change happens every day. We're getting ready to start a new year. And I don't know about you, but I'm actually excited for 2025. I know there's a lot of doomsayers out there. And yeah, we'll probably face a lot of challenges. But I'm really excited for 2025 because I know that there's going to be more opportunity there. Altruism, it gives you a chance to give back to your community and, of course, provide for societal good. So entrepreneurship is very important and vital, and it's the backbone of this country if you're in the U.S. So why be an entrepreneur? Maybe you just want to change the world. You are a world changer. You want to go out there and make a difference. You don't like the idea of having a boss. That's fine too. You're looking for flexibility in your hours and the ability to work from anywhere. I remember I had a case that I was working on, a legal case, and I got the case like a couple days before I was supposed to fly out to Las Vegas for a conference. Well, I'm at the conference during the day. I'm in my hotel at the night working on this case because it was a quick turnaround. I could work from anywhere. I didn't have to be tied to my desk to review medical records because now they come to me electronically. The lack of employment, maybe you can't get a job or in your current profession or current specialty because maybe your health is a challenge and you're no longer able to stand for long hours. So now is a chance for you to still be a nurse, but do it in a different way. And you don't fit the corporate mold. And in our case example, we're going to talk to a nurse who fit that exactly. She just didn't fit the corporate mold. And that's okay. Not everybody is fit for that. And then you're curious. Maybe there's some curiosity of what else you could do. And maybe there's a little bit of ambition there, which is perfectly fine, that you want to make a difference and make an impact. And maybe you're a bit unconventional. And that certainly fits me to the T, as I'm very unconventional in some of the things that I do. And people ask me, how did you come up with that? I don't know. It was a God idea, a download. And then here are some of the 7 characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. Oftentimes they're self-motivated. You don't need somebody to wake you up and tell you to go to work. You're actually excited to go to work because it's your own business. And you understand what you offer. You know what you bring to the marketplace. And that's one of the reasons why I started the Nurse Shark Academy, because I realized as more people were knocking on my door and asking questions about how to get in a business, how to start this, how to go over this challenge, I wanted to be the one to help them do that. I understand what I have to offer, and you're seeking my expertise. You like to take risks. And oftentimes, if you want to be an entrepreneur, it can be risky. There are things that may not happen and may not work out. I can tell you about a couple of business ventures that didn't work out, but I took the leap to see what was going to happen. I wanted to offer that and be a part of that startup. And, maybe the startup didn't finish, it didn't work out, but that's okay. I learn from each one of those experiences and I take them with me. You know how to network, you know how to talk to people and connect people with resources and other people. That's one of the things I love to do. I consider myself a collector of people. And so I have a bevy of people that I can reach into my Rolodex and give them a call and say, hey, I know you have expertise in this. So I'll give you a really good example. Next door where I leased my business, a new business moved in. And I went over to say hello. It's an interesting story how that happened. But I came over there to see if they were looking for this particular person that came to my door looking for the wrong thing. And so I go over there and I introduce myself and I find out that they make custom tables. Well, just so happens my church is rebuilding from a church fire, or church burned down. And so we're rebuilding and we need some things built. And so I said, well, do you make, tables for churches, etc.? And they said, yes. So I connected them with my pastor. And I just happened to meet them. They're my next door neighbors, a very nice person. By the way, he happens to be a retired nurse who now owns a business. So hopefully I can get him on the show, who owns a business making tables. But that was just making a connection and networking. And because of that, I was able to help my church get their needs met and give this man some business. That's a win-win for me. And all I did was make a phone call. Basic money management skills. And we talk about this in our financial workshop. We talk about those money management skills and how to keep the lights on. And the best way to grow your money and to invest. And by the way, I have a bevy of people who do that very thing, who help you manage your money. And so I don't have to be the go-to person all the time. If you have an area you need special expertise, I have the people that you can talk to. And I think that's wonderful. Flexibility. Oftentimes we have to pivot and change. Everybody remember March and April of 2020? Yeah, we had to change. And so a lot of businesses that were brick and mortar had to suddenly flip to be online because everything was shut down. So you have to have some flexibility and you have to bring some passion to it. If you're not having fun in what you're doing, why are you doing it? If your business you don't feel that passion for your business, maybe you're in the wrong business, and let's help you get to the right business. Right? So nurses have superpowers, right? We have those powers of assessment. How many times have you seen someone on the street and automatically you're doing an assessment without even thinking about it? You're like, "Ooh, nice veins. I know I can tap that," right? Or you're thinking, "Oh yeah, I'm seeing that they have XYZ. Maybe they have eczema or psoriasis." Or you see those things, and in your mind, you're already working out what to do best for them, and you want to go assisted help. There was a Facebook post about what are the things that you do as a nurse without thinking about it. And one of the things I said, well, or I think it was LinkedIn actually. And I said, well, I watch people like older people and young children when they start coughing in restaurants to make sure they're not choking, right? It's an automatic thing that I do. Nurses have empathy. So we recognize, hey, you know what? There may be some struggles that our clients have or struggles that our patients have. We recognize that. We know how to enter into that without becoming an enabler, but we help them get to their area of wellness. We're resourceful. How many times of nurses have you had to make do with what you had and the staff that you had on the unit? We are definitely resourceful. We know how to get stuff done, and we're resilient. And I know that is sometimes a dirty word right now. Everybody's like, oh, let's not talk about resilience anymore. But we are. We rise to the top. We can find a way out of things. And so we have our superpowers, and then we're advocates. We advocate for our patients and for each other. So let's see. Want to do our little case study? Let's see if I can get it to play. Maybe not. Let me go back. Okay, maybe I have to go to this one. Well, shoot. I was hoping I'd be able to get the audio to play. But you know what? Where there's a will, there is a way. So let me go ahead and stop sharing this real quick. I know exactly how to do this. Ha ha ha. Video file. For my story, and I'll try to remember to put the link up there. But you can go back to our very first podcast episode where I share my entrepreneurial journey and my journey as a nurse. But let's get back to you because I
Okay.
wanted to know when did you transition from wanting to have a 9 to 5, as we say, to working for someone else?
Oh my God, I remember it just like it was yesterday. I had started working at Ivy Tech and I had started working under the health sciences program. So I was working there. So then I guess someone resigned and my boss at the time reached out to me and was like, hey, are you interested in teaching the CNA class? And I thought, me, sure, I'll try it. So I absolutely loved it. So I can remember being on the floor with my students and it was amazing. And I thought, and then that's when God gave me the vision. And I was like, I was, doing the clinicals and all that. And I was like, shoot, I can do this myself. And this was in, 2016. So that's when I really felt the need to really, do it. So then I really didn't think about it. And I had a few corporate America jobs and it just wasn't, working out. Then yeah, so I had went to a CNA seminar thing with Victoria Randall. Well, it popped up on Facebook, and I told my cousin, I was like, I'm thinking about going to this. And I was like, I don't know, because you know how I am. I can be kind of, and Brittany's like, girl, you better go. So I went, and then I knew then, I was like, okay, like, this is what I need to be doing. So that's when I knew that was the door I needed to walk into.
Everybody. All right, so I wanted to share that one. This is a clip. This is Tracina Martin Miller. She was a one of my clients, and one of my first clients actually, with the Nurse Shark Academy, and she started her CNA training school, and then she also had a CPR training school, and now she's got contracts in several school systems. in Indianapolis. And so I share that because it was an idea that came to her while she was working for someone else, and she thought, I can do that myself. I can do that too. So I want to share this next clip with you. Okay, so I have to remove that. Okay. Let me share this next clip with you. This is from Sylvia. Sylvia is not actually she was not one of my clients, but she's a good friend of mine. She's in a mastermind with me. And I wanted to share her clip because I thought this was just so interesting, um, what she had to say.
The same thing everybody was doing, chronologies, merit reviews, cases, trying to be an expert witness, in different areas that I was. And I noticed I wasn't getting very many offers, even though I was, advertising and everything, and I wasn't getting many offers. And I said to myself, this is not looking good. For the first 2 years, I was kind of dilly dallying, working as the case manager as well as trying to do this. And then finally, one day I met a lady and she called me. She found my information in the database for the CLNCs at the
Mm-hmm.
Vicky Malazzo Institute. And she said, have you done a DME before? And I said, no. I haven't, but I have read about it. I did it.
Okay, so I'm going to stop here and just remove this clip because there's a part two to this. But I want you to really think about what she said. She started, she did the things, she did everything that everybody else did. But Sylvia's story is so unique. She found her niche, and her niche is actually doing defense medical exams or independent medical exams as a legal nurse consultant. And she has a huge company in California. She has several nurses working for her. These are guests that have been on my show. So I want you to hear the rest of her story because I thought this was just amazing. And I had to share this.
She said, well, I need someone. She needed someone like right away. And she knew I was a CLNC. And I said, oh, yeah, I'll go. I said, do you mind training me? And she said, yeah, no problem. I'll train you. And she trained me. And after she trained me, I went to 2 exams with her. And after 2 exams, I kind of felt comfortable. And I
Mm-hmm.
started doing the exams, her exams, and other people's exams myself. And then one day I said, I like this. I really like this because I used to love to fight with the doctors at the hospital. So once I noticed it was the same thing here, I was like, ooh, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And I've been here ever since.
Well, can you explain for those listening? And so I just really enjoyed. So, those of you who may not know what defense medical exams are, when you're talking about a defense medical exam, the nurse will go and observe the physician doing the medical exam, oftentimes for a personal injury case. Someone maybe had a fall or been in a car wreck or something like that, and they'll do the exam, and the nurse observes for the plaintiff side to make sure that the physician does all the things that he's supposed to do, doesn't forget to do something, what was actually asked in the exam. And so they give a report for the plaintiff attorney because oftentimes the attorney doesn't have time to go to these exams themselves, which they do have a right to observe if they want to. And so they hire nurses who understand the medical lingo and what should be in the exam to give them a written report of what occurred so they have it preserved when they go to court. So that's what she's talking about. She found her niche. She found her niche by recognizing that once she really liked to argue with the doctors, and you know what? Sometimes that's fun. But she found her niche because she found a place where it filled her passion and she was able to grow from there. So I wanted to share those two stories because they are so important when you think about being an entrepreneur. And as we get ready for tomorrow, we're going to talk about finding your niche. And that's one of the things that we want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Yes. All right. So that was Sylvia's story, Sylvia and Nene. And if you want to hear the rest of those interviews, by the way, go over to the nurserockacademy.biz, hit the podcast tab there on our website, and you can listen to those past episodes, or go to Podbean. You can find the Nurse Shark Academy and then listen to whatever platform you use. But they have some great stories, and there's wonderful nurse entrepreneurs there that are willing to share what they have. So here we go. So as we get ready to, to jump into entrepreneurship, the SBA has a readiness quiz which you can take, and there'll be a link to that in your workbook. But it's also here for those of you who do not have the workbook. So here's some questions that I took from that you maybe want to ask yourself as we prepared for the rest of the week. Do you think you are ready to start a business? These are their questions. And so my question to you is, are you ready to start a business? It doesn't mean that you have to quit your day job. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and lease space right here today. But are you ready to get started? And that's a question that I have for you. And only you can answer that. But I'm looking for nurses who are ready to get started, because as we start tomorrow, we're going to start on building your niche, finding your niche. Then we're going to build your business plan. So we'll talk about all those different things, like getting you started. So that's the number one question you have to ask yourself right now. Are you ready? Have you ever worked in a business like the one you are starting? Have you ever worked as a CNA instructor? You notice on Tracy's story, she started out working as a nurse, CNA instructor, and figured out, hey, I could do this too on my own. Are you a leader? Are you going to be the one that's going to lead your company, depending on what type of company you're going to have? Are you going to be able to take that initiative? Do you like to make decisions? If you're not one and you'd rather be told what to do, and that's perfectly fine. There are some people that are perfectly content to be in a job, a situation, but maybe that's not you. And those are the people I'm talking to. Do you have the emotional strength to deal effectively with pressure? You're a nurse. Yes, you have the strength to deal with pressure. You do this every day. So I don't think you'll have a problem with that. Do you know what basic skills you will need in order to have a successful business? And so depending on what field or business you're going into, there are some basic things that we'll talk about throughout this week. But there may be some special things that you may need to have in order to open up your business. For example, to be a CNA instructor, you have to take the CNA instructor course if you want to be a CNA instructor in the state of Indiana or in whatever state that you're in. Do you have those skills? Are you prepared to wait until you learn those skills? So if you don't have the skills, maybe it's a type of business where you should be or need to be an RN, and maybe you're an LPN and you're thinking about doing the business. Are you willing to get started on your business now and getting the stuff prepared and going back to school to get your RN, if that's what you need to do? Those are questions that only you can answer. If you need to do that. Not every business that you start, you will need to do that. But for some of you, you will need to, depending on the type of business. It would be like if I wanted to open up an aesthetic business and give Botox injections, oftentimes you would have to be an advanced practice nurse for certain things. If you're going to prescribe and do all that type of stuff. If you're just going to be giving the injection, you don't have to be an advanced practice nurse. But if you'll need somebody to prescribe the injections, because you can't prescribe it on your own as an RN. So you need to know what skills you need to have. Are you prepared to lose a portion of your savings? Because you will have to invest, you will have to invest in yourself. If it's taking an extra class, if it's going out on date night for a while, you have to decide what you're willing to sacrifice. And are you prepared, if needed, to temporarily lower your standard of living until your business is firmly established? Other questions you want to ask yourself. Do you plan ahead? And this is why we're developing your business plan as part of our day 3, is because I want you to have a plan to start your business and plan for your business and not just wing it, because a lot of times us winging it is what gets us into trouble. And do you like people? If you're going to have a customer-facing business, You better like people, right? And when people say you are outgoing, do you like to talk to people? If you don't and you're introverted, now believe it or not, I am very introverted and I don't particularly sometimes enjoy talking to people that I don't know, but I developed those skills so that I can do that. And we'll talk a little bit about how to do that, how to network. Do you feel comfortable using a computer? It's okay if you don't, because you can learn. This might be a skill set that you have to learn. How do you build a marketing funnel? How do you build a website? How do you write an email, a professional email or newsletter? All those different things you may want to know and learn. Do you think you can be comfortable hiring, disciplining, and delegating tasks to employees? Are you going to be the one that hires someone and keeps them forever, even though they're not the right fit for your business because you're too afraid to let them go? I always look at it this way: if I have to let someone go, I'm releasing you to another opportunity because maybe this environment is not good for you either. So I look for the win-win in everything. Do you have the emotional strength to deal effectively with pressure? You know, are you emotionally ready to be an entrepreneur? This is something that only you can answer, and it's something maybe you have to explore a little bit. I would say after the death of a loved one or the breakup of a marriage or something like that, it may not be the ideal time for you to make big decisions when you're in an emotional disarray. But it's not to say that you can't start and think and reflect and really sit down and figure out what you want to do. You just may have to take some time. Have you taken a small business course or a seminar? Have you learned about what it takes to start a business and what regulations and rules are available in your state or province? Have you done that? Have you ever worked as a manager or a supervisor? And I can say yes to that question, but a lot of nurses can. Have you been charge nurse? I've been charge nurse. Have you worked as a supervisor? Yes, I have. Were you over a department? Did you have the hospital to run? What is it that you did that makes you that give you that managerial experience? And notice that this is talking about managing, not leading. So we'll talk a little bit more about the difference between leading and managing. Okay? And are you aware that running your own business may require working more than 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and maybe Sundays and holidays? When you're first starting out, until you have somebody that you can hire to help you with some of those things, you may be the janitor and the housekeeper and the secretary, the receptionist. You may be the marketer. You may be the IT department. You may be all of those things. And so you need to make sure that you're prepared to understand that you may come in on days that you may not feel like it because it's your business. And people don't understand why I show up and I come in on a Sunday to sit there and edit a podcast because for me, it's fun. This is what I like to do. And so Sundays is a good day because once I get the front part done, all I do is sit there and wait for it to process and then I can do other things. So my question to you is, you know, are you ready to make that sacrifice? So here's your homework because we're running out of time and this is a perfect time to shift to this. I want you to take time to do the self-reflection exercises that you found in your exist and who do you serve? You'll want to know that as well. Why does your business exist and who do you serve? So those are the two questions I want you to think about for tomorrow as we get ready for day 2. I come back for day 2. We're going to be here at noon on these platforms. We're going to live stream. If you want to get into the Zoom for after this session, we do have time for the Zoom where you get to ask questions. You'll um, sometimes I'll help you, give you a little bit of coaching back in these Zooms. So you can sign up for VIP access. Go to the nurseSharkAcademy.biz or click on this link here or to the take a screenshot, and that will take you directly to the link for the VIP. Get your VIP ticket. Doesn't cost you that much. It's like $27, $37. You can sign up for that. You'll get access to the videos as well for replays. You'll get the Zoom link and the VIP sessions, and then, of course, the workbook. And then we'll have some extra things that we'll talk about, some bonuses I'll throw in. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. Okay. So just to give you a little sneak peek of what we're going to talk about tomorrow, we're going to talk about what is your niche, brainstorming business ideas, evaluating the market needs, aligning your expertise and passion with the introduction to the he, me, we model, which is our model that we have for the Nurse Shark Academy. And then we'll do a case study of a model business. And then, of course, you'll have your homework assignment to get ready for day 3. So again, if you want to sign up for the VIP package, you can do that here. Take a picture of the QR code here and go to the nurseSharkAcademy.biz and sign up and register today. All right, that's it I have for today. It's 1:05, and I told you 1 hour. We had a few technical glitches, but that's all right. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We're going to have a great show tomorrow. We will see what happens. Janet, you know what? If there will by the way, the replays will be available to the end of the challenge. So if you miss a session, you can come back and watch it on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, and you can rewatch it. If you miss something, you missed day 2. But we're going to talk about building your niche tomorrow. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Share this link with your friends because, again, this is a free challenge. I wanted to give back, and this is my way of sharing with the nursing community and those that are budding entrepreneurs out there. I'm excited. All right. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. And those of you that are VIP, we'll see you in the VIP.